Okay, it's just me by myself. I was just trying to show everybody the reasons why I feel like, well, really just one reason that it was in recent news or whatever, and we're gonna wait and see if anybody shows up. If not, it don't make a difference because it's only gonna take me about a minute or two to do this. Um, I just figured if people had showed up, I'd take a few more minutes to explain anything and take any questions or anything like that. But like I said, based on the beat and the time and everything this is, I don't really expect anybody to show up. So I figured at least then people could see why I at least kind of think. And I probably shouldn't even wait and see if anybody shows up. I'll just really quickly did it because I'm not much of a video editor, so I'm not going to go about that means of doing it. The same day that Brian Cooper had asked for the plea deal, I noticed something in the news. Well, it wasn't exactly Idaho. Not exactly right at that moment. It was about a month, maybe a little bit more before that moment. But usually, from what I've heard from the people that have been to prison that I know, um, well, there's only so many ways you can get news in there. And that is step one. Other people tell you from either the phone or other prisoners tell you. Um, so the information has a tendency to be delayed. They usually also use snail mail and lawyer and stuff. So, guessing with all the hearings and junk going on, there would probably have been a bit of a gap in the timing or whatever that Brian Koberger got this information. And while I understand once I show it to you, it's basically gonna seem like, well, that was like a month and a half in a different state. Well, the thing is that, as I said, there's usually a delay in information that comes from the outside to the inside, and half the time the details of said information aren't really like. Well, you'll see what I'm talking about. They usually leave a lot of things off, and was it at the very end of April into early May? Well, not Idaho, and I think it was South Carolina, another state that has accepted the ability to use the firing squad as a means of execution. Well, like I said, at the end of April, beginning of May, um, there was an execution of a South Carolina inmate. Honestly, where's the name? Well, basically, I'll just give my personal opinion on the matter, and then I'll show you the article. You can go there if you want and figure out the rest. But what I'm trying to say is, apparently there was a bit of a freak, weird kind of accident, and only the second prisoner to ever be executed in South Carolina by that means, since it was made legal, of course. It was basically a magical, mysterious kind of botch that occurred. And I know that sounds odd, but basically, the the killer that was executed suffered a pretty considerable amount of time because the three shots that were supposed to hit him directly through his heart were significantly lower aimed than possible, and they more or less did strike the heart, but much very smaller areas, more towards the edge. And this probably was an accident, and that's all, it's all understandable. But at the same time, you kind of, unlike when you're being put to sleep or whatever, or in the gas chamber or something like that, you have somebody that has supposedly has some sort of skills, not maybe a doctorate all these times, but they could go in there and make sure that as least suffering, the least amount of suffering as possible. Now, on the other hand, maybe like a firing squad, well, you get three different people, or I'm not sure if it was three or six, but three rounds hit this guy. They were all too low and all too close to the edge to kill him automatically. So he spent nearly 2 minutes or more alive in severe agony. I think he had injuries that also messed up his liver and a bunch of other organs at the same time. So it's kind of crazy how just missing a shot by that far, because each round actually hit his heart. And it's a rare event also about this botched execution, because he was supposed to get hit in the heart by three bullets, but it left three entrance wounds. But apparently, in this instance, the coroner has stated that all three bullets did indeed hit the heart at a majorly lower than what they were supposed to hit, and that they were not hit in the specific spot that they were supposed to. And on top of that, two bullets went in through the same entrance wound, which I'm not sure what the odds are of that happening. But they only found two entrance wounds for bullets, even though they found three bullets had hit him in the heart. And just around that same time that Bryan Kohberger asked for a deal, this was hitting the news nationwide, because that's when I saw it, the same day he asked for the plea deal. So my thoughts are, he got scared, because not only do you have to put your faith in the skill of the people that are taking the shots, but at the same time, his crimes are so infamous that you really want to risk your, how do I say, whether or not you go out in a very bad way, or just an okay way. A normal firing squad execution is supposed to be done and over, and the patient's supposed to be dead, or the prisoner is supposed to be dead within 15 seconds. From what I read in this article or whatever, it was more like a minute and a half to 2 minutes that this guy sat there, which I'm not really feeling bad for him because he's a killer. So, but when the bullets they missed like that, dude was a minute and a half to 2 minutes of pure utter torture and pain, and and probably deserved it. I don't know. It's not my place to judge, but yeah, it usually would take like decent size information and high caliber information about a month or so to get to the inside of prisons and stuff for them guys to know. And usually the details get kind of messed up in the process. So as I said, just real quickly, I'm just going to share my screen and show you guys the article that I saw the day he asked for the plea deal. And you will see exactly what I'm talking about. So here we go. Like I said, I'm going to leave this up. It doesn't really matter who shows up to who watch it, you know. So I guess me and Diana are going to start doing lives that we can actually hold on to, but we'll see how it goes. 1 second, let's go back up to the top. Okay. South Carolina inmate's firing squad execution was botched, with bullets mostly missing his heart, the lawyer said. You see, okay, about April 11th. But we had to wait until the coroner report and all that went through, and by that was all done, the internet or whatever didn't get the information until May 6th. And it was kind of a quiet ordeal or whatever until Bryan Kohberger asked for the plea deal to have the death penalty removed. And Mikhail Nodby was executed on April 11th, becoming the second man in South Carolina to be executed by a three-person firing squad this year after admitting to killing an off-duty police officer in 2004. He's popular. The legal team filed a complaint with the South Carolina Supreme Court on Thursday, saying that the execution was botched. The filing contained a report from forensic pathologist Dr. Jonathan Arden, who reviewed Maddie's autopsy and photographs of the gunshot wounds and bullet fragments. The attorneys claimed that only two of the bullets struck Maddie and that they had largely missed his heart in such a way that he suffered long and yeah, enough to violate constitutional law against cruel and unusual punishment. That is the man that was executed and that was botched. The South Carolina Department of Corrections commissioned an autopsy that found all three bullets struck Maddie's heart, and that other statements are interpretations of what the examination showed. Basically, the state of South Carolina made the claim that we didn't mess up. All three bullets hit him in the heart. Okay, the cause of this botch are unknown, blah, blah, blah. Did one member of the execution miss? See, some people are saying that one of the guys, that the way I feel about it is you're living your life up to a firing, your death up to a firing squad. There's a bit of a problem with that, see? And that is, not only are you taking the risk that it might be something that lasts forever or whatever, if your crimes are really that badly, who's to say that the three guys shooting you aren't going to make sure to make you suffer in the meantime, you know? As long as they hit you in certain spots or whatever, you will die in agonizing pain. Monty's autopsy was commissioned by the whatever that is, performed by Dr. Marcus Bradley, showed the inmate only had two gunshot wounds, even though three bullets were simultaneously fired with no exit wounds. Bradley noted that one wound, labeled gunshot wound A, represented the pathway of two gunshots, meaning two bullets entered through the exact same hole. Arden's 40-year career in forensic pathology called this extraordinarily uncommon in his report. He wrote that even if both bullets had the same entrance wound, it would be larger and more irregular in configuration than a typical wound of one projectile. The autopsy photograph of Molly's wounds showed two typical gunshot wounds. Arden said that his report, she spoke with Bradley on April 24th, who said he took the photograph of the gunshot wound to determine the unexpected finding. Basically, what they're talking about is, I can't remember where they found it, but they pulled over this, I'll talk about it later. Don't worry. Arden said his report, she spoke with Bradley. Bradley acknowledged that such an occurrence would be remote in his estimation, but doesn't mean jack shit yet, right? A third doctor, forensic pathologist Dr. Carl Wigren, reviewed the autopsy for NPR, concluding that the odds of two bullies entering through the same exact time, same entrance, and all that other stuff was it's very highly unlikely that the person herself would actually cause harm to him or try to. But some people are just crazy. You know what you do. Now, he was the second man in South Carolina history since it was made a legal option to be executed by the firing squad. And yeah, I'm not sure. I guess nobody should have to walk around, polite and everything else, and having to kiss ass to exist somewhere. That's what I'm trying to teach me up and stuff. But it is what it is, basically. But yeah, two bullets committed through the same hole. The inmate ended up still breathing and alive for damn near a minute and a half. And they said they checked on him, tried to make sure he was okay, tried to make him comfortable. I don't quite buy that myself. seeing as though it would have been prison, but at the same time, it's not impossible. But but I still like to thank Noe for coming on live. I'd love to last night. I'd love to also thank Paradoxic and the Curious Contrarian and Zero Cool. And like I said, Noe, uh, thank you, Prop, for showing up in chat. Um, I would like to thank Owl on the Prowl, Dave, and anybody and everybody that took their time to come and help us, whether they be up there talking and having a good time on the live panel itself, or actually went and did something and donated money towards Heather Brown and stuff. So anybody that did is freaking awesome. But it seems just obvious to me that Koberger was probably scared because he did not. He probably, like I said, the information you get is pretty straightforward, but they're usually missing a lot of details. So the only thing he basically could tell Puff Daddy, his friend or whatever, was, hey, um, it was a little white guy or something like that that caused the problem in the first place. And basically, that's how I feel that, the whole murder thing happened. I'm not sure if she was having some, I'm going to say affair, like, I'm not sure if she had a boyfriend or not. And that's the weird part of the matter. But yeah. Anything else? But yeah, there's a lot of things you can do with it mess to me and stuff, like, all that other stuff. And but the stockpile of evidence that was already ended, Koberger and the fact that he himself would have known he did that crime 100%. Because, so it literally becomes, it could have been him. Well, it's some random person named Robert who stuck with all of us. It's not ours, so I don't really look at it. But on top of that, yeah, I believe that if I was ordered and asked to fire a shot at somebody, I would probably hit him in the knee and then the other knee and shoot him a couple of times in the chest, but there's nothing internal damage, And then at the same time, grab his feet, some into the back of his head, crisscross them, snap. As I said, I had no intention of coming on here for a very long time. To do this real quick, I just wanted to show everybody what I was talking about, Saint Prop and everybody else being at peace and yada yada yada. And I'm glad everybody is, or at least is trying. And that's great. We'll keep it up. But yeah, we have no intentions, and we will not be just giving up on it. We made quite a bit of money last night between the advertising we did within like the first 12, 14 hours before the live itself. Because before the 8 hour live, that was the charity live for Heather Brown. What we had done is, I was told we needed a warm up. So Diana made me watch a movie then, Diana, and we got put off for about a day or so. So Prof, I believe, is going live tonight on his channel. And I mean, if I can get a hold of everybody quick enough, I'd like to bring in, the same exact people because as far as I'm concerned, they don't mean nothing but, they basically owe Heather something or whatever because it's just not very nice. to make plans, and then I get stuff happens and everything else. And a bit of few miscommunications prevented access from two more people, three more technically. I did get a hold of the one at the end, but she was not around to invite. I did see the DM off and stuff, it just didn't work out. And what else was it? Well, that's him in the camera for sure. But yeah, I mean, sadly, it's going to get worse before it's going to get better. And all we can do is kind of wish for the best and hope our world and shit don't get destroyed in the process. But yeah, we fully intend to, before the weekend's over with, to have another charity stream. As I've already started reaching out to people, if they would like to be involved, please just let me or Diana know, and she'll get the information back to me. It seems pretty easy. So, what's up? Anybody here? Nobody? Cool. The music is man, it's not on. But like I said, prison only takes about a month to 2 months to get any real access to true information and shit like that. So I do believe that it would have been late June or whatever that they got this information because of some guy that got killed on a motorcycle and junk. He said, I don't want. They don't want to strangle you, but I want to. Like I said, I was really pleased with all the people who just showed up last night. And especially since it was a good cause. Um, I'm kind of waiting on a few numbers coming back from like last Cash App, etc., and whatnot. But between the advertising and your radio live and all this other stuff and live itself, uh, a considerable, as far as I'm concerned, a decent considerable amount was made. So we have nothing but we should be proud of ourselves for doing what we could, and I damn sure am because I didn't think we were going to make $2,100. You know, we're basically evening out to about that $4,000 mark. But what I did expect is he had a new one. He could have looked in my mind, but he was jealous. He was going to go home, so he probably went and man under his blanket. But I thought I saw someone with Heather or something going. See that? Honestly, like was it 10 minutes or TV or something? I mean, technically, I thought I was on the answer, so I hate Googling it. But if you don't like any answer, it's fine, because you know what it is. I've been really anyway, so I just got some things to go do, come back home, etc., etc. Man, as I said, let's be good to stop in and show everybody, um, the website. I was going to show one more time. Anybody that wants to read it. Basically, the too long didn't read kind of crap in this situation basically means, um, yeah, there's some people that put bridges and all kinds of other stuff. because of habits and certain people to you. And I feel like another story here. But when it then occurred and those people didn't show up trying to tell everybody, it became a lower level of, oh no, so we're passing out. Yeah, like you said, I'm not going to be on this longer. I just wanted to show the article that would have been that came out May 6th to May 9th. It tests a lot of parts of the United States, but not very much apparently. So he was also known for owning and wearing a fake SWAT team member's outfit to commit some of his murders or just feelings up. He got caught. But yeah, I'd like to thank Noe, Paradoxic, aka Dan, the Bear Jew, aka Curious Contrarian, Dan as well, Zero Cool, Big Fish in a Small Pond, aka No Hate Create, or Don't Hate Create. Noe was amazing when he came on and really helped us fill in the gap dead air. Um, Props stopped in by a lot of people. In fact, most of the stream phone was basically, um, as I would call it at the moment, more or less people that run their own way. They make their choices and they don't need people to make them feel secure about it. So, while the violent ones seem to find other violent ones and they start to get along and cause some time for us. Maybe. The name High Bear or something or other, just a bear alone sounds familiar. I think I've talked to you before, have I? Get paid. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't have any pets anymore. I used to be by my parents were there's 2 hour nothing so nothing. Usually I was in the pugs. They were given to my mom and it's like, Daddy, use money for me. No, we're not doing that. Like, what did you supposed to have? You want me to get pregnant that years? Who's scared of that? But yeah, eventually I'll get figured out and stuff. I just believe the information. Yeah, the person was bots shooting range, and a lot of people probably would have been like, they meant to hit me and suffer, and I'm not a doctor, so I don't know this. I don't care what your opinion is. It's not my business either. So let's control your thing. I'm going in your shit. These weird pains in the ass is far beyond reach of patrol. But the whole thing was to change for one, let alone all of the even independent pounds worth of towel I can get. What's the look at and what's behind the back? Since that, I mean, yeah. That is, when you get to the place, you just put yourself in a situation on the rock and won't really feel that. What happened to the three guy? Sterling? Like I said, the thing is personal, whatever, don't worry about that. But yeah, I think a lot of people definitely need to seek some therapy, some mental health shit, something along those lines. Because like you really don't know too well what the hell they're doing at the moment time and they're leaving too much hands. And I hope with these three blood decorated officers pulling through and everything for my guy. Whoever's looking at and for interrogation, paying charges to less than 100 ago, sent me by cash app. It's a number trying and all of them there. And we only identified about half of them. So it's actually well in itself. But I do believe if you the right way that he said that, there is no problem in finding that out. Yeah, she like, Mhm. I'm about having a part of the house, and it's gonna be, what's up? How you doing, man? I was about to end this thing. I was like, just showing people what I had found the same day that he asked for a plea deal, which would have been Monday, in regards to why he probably took the whole or wanted the plea deal in the first place. As anybody who's been locked up knows, or at least in prison, which I have never done, so um, how do I put this? Information and all the other good shit that comes from the outside is done with a significant delay. It's usually around a month or more than a month before that the information will get in, and usually the details, since they're coming from second party sources like people that are getting arrested and coming in, and this, that, and the other. Um, but basically, I'm guessing he was basically just told, hey, in South Carolina last month there was a botched execution using a firing squad. And I'm going to show you the article that I'm talking about, which I'm already sharing the screen. So, yeah, basically in South Carolina, some guy was executed. He was only second man executed by a firing squad since it became legal recently. And how do I put it? Yeah, he was hit in very different spots than where they're supposed to be hit when they shoot them, and they never. It almost, he almost lived. I guess the first one, the shot had gone through the same hole the second shot when they first. So they couldn't find a bullet hole, but they were able to find the fragments and all inside of his body still for all three bullets. Um, if whoever it was that took the time to just explain to him what had happened, then okay, the odds are is the bullet going through the same hole as another bullet and everything else is probably like a couple 100,000 to one, or much, much worse. So, yeah. And like I said here, I'm going to show you all right now. the thing I saw the day that Brian Koberger called, and that's for the plea deal. See, South Carolina firing inmates firing while the execution was botched. He suffered for significantly longer than he was supposed to, and from what I've heard, had a ruptured liver and all kinds of other stuff due to the injuries taken from the bullets when the ricochets and stuff that bounced around. If you're going to use gunshots to kill somebody, just shoot them in the head with a damn pump action shotgun or the back of the head. But you got to use what I figured them only to be small arms to take out somebody and execute them. I mean, the only time you do that is like during a real execution because they're usually on their knees, right in front of you, facing a different direction, and you point a gun at them and keep saying, yeah, the bullet hit him from afar. Uh, but yeah, basically, it would have been about month and a half before they got in prison with Koberger, and Koberger himself would have found out about what had happened to the president, aka JFK at the time, and that's why a lot of people think there was a second gun. But I think there was multiple bullets found in the scene. One near the casino, one near the bank, but they were trying to break into it. And well, even if the intention or not, the execution was botched. He was hit 3 times in the heart, in a very small area of the bottom of the heart. Um, that he would have lived for quite any higher, and he would have lived probably for like a day or more. A little bit higher than that, but it reaches like 40%. He can't even go get a job because he ain't gonna die and that's unless it's his time. And no, what? Well, just insane. No, I mean, I already talked about Alex and rescheduled to redo the thing this time, knowing I made sure somebody got a hold of him, so it was fine. Ben is reaching out to Adrian because I don't have her information. And the ones that missed the live last night, either being the chat people and people that were unable to attend due to unforeseen circumstances. That's fine. I mean, I get it. But that just means we're going to have to do this all over again. I'm preferring to do it this weekend. Me and Dana will be back for Ash later on tonight as we will be waiting until Prophet's done watching this, talking about his stuff before we do it, as always. And let's see, probably tomorrow night or the night after that, we're going to reattempt the charity streamathon. That way, we can make sure that people are going to show up in the third, and I have more time to get hold of people like Joe Lewis and all them, so that works for me at the same time. Um, yeah, I was really shocked and proud of the amount that I saw that we had made, and between the advertising and through Cash App and uh, the damn GoFundMe and everything else. Um, if anybody cares to know, I don't know much about the direct deposits and stuff that came to her, but it was between 730, I think, and almost $800. So I thought that was badass, and I think a lot of people stepped up, especially the people that came on the live, the people that stayed calm and chilled in the chat for most of the part. Um, um, I love you all. I think you did a great job helping us out and stuff. And as I said in the first place, this ain't over until we pass that goal. So, I mean, every time we come up, or me and Diana comes up, or uh, just Diana, or just me, and all this other stuff, we once again will, up until the next live where we charity for charity, of course. Um, yeah, we just gonna keep doing it until we hit the mark that we need. Simple as that. But yeah, yeah, this guy right here had about firing squad execution. I figure about a month and a half or so, the information then proceeds to get to Bryan Kohberger, finally through word of mouth, etc. And he wants to have his time in court so he can have a good time and see if he can defeat the court. But I'm guessing he decided it wasn't the brightest idea of thing to try. Um, so he just changed his mind a bit, or at least chose not to talk about it more. Is the best way to explain it. Um, yeah. I just wanted to thank everybody. Like I said from last night, this place was packed. It was jumping. You know, it's been a long time since I've seen like 30 or 40 plus people in my chat. Um, and yeah, everybody was being lovely. Lots of people were helping. And when problems arose, and we found out that someone had contacted Adrian and Alex, and Snay or something had a problem issue with the teddy bear. I'm not even sure, but it could be wrong. It could be really, really weird. But yeah. And I'm DM this one yet. That. So I'm not sure if anybody's watching or not. I'll scroll back up to the top one more time so everybody could see it, and then scroll to the bottom so slowly, kind of everybody can look it up themselves, because it's just like saying Man Dyson Butts Execution Firing Squad. I'm not sure. I don't think they put it in the or martial weapon thing for the soldiers in any other country. But yeah, Silence came up here. Prop was here, at least in the chat. You know, a lot of people showed up last night, not everybody, and I'm hoping we give it a little bit more time. We'll be able to kick this first night's ass even better the next time. If anybody that didn't know, there was a bit of an argument that occurred at the end of the stream about 3 o'clock a.m., I think. And even though we shut it down or whatever and try to calm some things down, it didn't really work well. So they would pop on and just say some really mean ass things to us, and then race away and disappear. Hey, who you try to call it that? At the Rich Allen's car. No, I'm trying to take the picture to multiple people I know have they're kind of mental. It's the best way I can put it. but they love playing with toy guns and playing and all that other stuff. They really love stuff like Leaf Clover song, Machine the Jar, and that. But yeah, since you want to look the article up, we will be back tonight after Prof ends his life if he decide to go live. So we'll find that out at some point. It's only 12:22, so we have got plenty of time for that. And I don't know if you heard me or not, but I said hi, maybe. So, I hope everybody stays safe on their holiday and everything else. Whether you're hearing this now or later, it doesn't make much of a difference to me. Um, I'll probably edit some of the talking shit out of it, make a short video or something like that out of it. I gotta learn how to make cool stuff on here at some point, but now's not the time. Um, oh, the evidence against Bryan Kohberger was just stacking up, and it was worse and worse and worse and worse. So I think he did what was in his best interest by making sure he wasn't slaughtered, which he was able to accomplish. And then they made sure that they tried to help federally to fuck him over. And it's like, no, this guy killed his. I mean, they crossed state lines, so it actually would have been a federal crime. I just don't understand why they didn't charge him with a whole bunch of more things, like traveling over state lines and becoming a of a felony and everything else. But he's going to get to go to court and make a plea deal on these charges and crap. But basically, they left him a loophole. It's kind of how I feel in the matter. But yeah, as I said, I gotta go take a nap, chill out for a few. Go do some errands. Come back here and I took all of it. But yeah, I at least remember it was around $700 to $800 since the night before last. We started advertising and talking about it everywhere, and while we were getting people who want to join. And oh yeah, like I said, it was like 750 somewhere there, which is pretty good for a couple of irrelevant pieces of shit who doesn't have the ability to draw in a crowd or whatever. Sure, but yeah, it was fun. I had a lot of fun. My buddies from the Rejects did an amazing fucking job. I really was just kind of like hinting that I wanted them to stop by just to say hi because I hadn't talked to them in a while. And the fact that they all showed up like that and not only did so, but they themselves hopped on the live on the panel and for hours said they're trying to help out. And this is what I'm talking about, man. This is what we need. People, this is all positive. And we need to get the negative shit out of this damn area because it's just not. It's no good. It's not going to help us any. And as I said, I hope you all have a happy 4th of July and everything else. It's just amazing anybody's even here at all in the first place. It's not a problem. But I'm tired of shit. I to get ready to do the live. It ended up taking now 8 hours, maybe a bit more. We did a nearly 18-hour live to get used to doing all the stuff and all that stuff. I don't know. It made no sense to me. I think she was just basically bored, and I'm always bored, so it's not a big deal. But at the same time, there's somebody spreading no way. I told them if this is what I think it is, that's what they look like. Yeah, basically, we're going to get the head of the live going as fast as possible. I've already reached out to some of the guys locally that I know that know how to play really good instruments. I'm hoping we can either lead singer to come too, but apparently I'm not that lucky. At least not yet. Figure one day when, if I ever become popular or whatever, then I would have him stop on by. The guy I used to play in a band against another guy who also played in the band was a guy that went by the name Derek Trebet. Trebet, Trimbett. And I knew him from Twisted Method and Makeshift Romeo. There was his two bands. He ended up being Dope later on. I got some interviews coming with well-known. Well, if you listen to metal, you know who these guys are in each instance. So I get not many people like it. Um, well, I'm gonna try to start writing a different style of music soon. So who knows? But what was I gonna say last moment? But yeah, we're gonna keep doing this shit over and over and over again until that goal is met. Even if we have to go on lives 2 to 3 times a day and stuff, and pass it out to everybody, anybody we can think of, so they have something to donate to or whatever like that. So that'd be fun. But yeah, I mean, like I said, have a great 4th of July. I hope everything's going well for everybody. And if you need something, you always know that I'm here. And for the trolls that want to bug me and everything else, you really don't want to be the asshole that you should appear. Okay? Don't make me be a jerk. Who's that? It's not a jerk. Come on, here we go. Well, I don't know who that person was, and I can't find their conversation now. I saw something out of the asshole that helped do the job or whatever that you guys are getting the water and everything else out of there. That's what they're talking about. And I don't know, is it easier said than that? If you start covering up everything that's making a river or the ocean and all that look bigger, you'll be there all day and not accomplish barely a thing. And as I said, we'll be back later on. I hope it has a great day. I might end up just deleting this one as well because I'm too damn tired. But we'll be back later on tonight. I get the live set for midnight. If we get out any sooner, we'll make sure to send me and everything out to most people that we can reach. And yeah, have a great day and thank you for coming. Peace.